fans of Jade Cargill are bound to feel disappointed if they expect a major return from her during the upcoming Women's Royal Rumble match. In this video, I'm going to explain why that's likely not going to happen. There's been a lot of misinformation and confusion surrounding Jade's status, and honestly, no one seems to know for sure what's going on. But if you're hoping for a huge surprise at the Rumble, I would caution against it. What I can say is this: when it comes to the reports on Jade's status, I suggest focusing on the majority consensus rather than relying on any one specific outlet. The situation around her has become muddled, and it's important to look at the bigger picture. So, what exactly is going on with Jade Cargill? The confusion started back in November, when WWE aired an angle on SmackDown involving a mystery attacker backstage. Jade was knocked out in the segment, and at first, many believed the storyline was setting up a serious injury for her. With the initial assumption that she would be out of action for at least 3 months, it seemed like a serious injury angle, possibly leading to her absence from WWE programming for an extended period. However, the situation has taken a few unexpected turns since then. Around Thanksgiving, reports began circulating that Jade wasn't actually injured, and the whole mystery attacker angle was simply part of a storyline. In fact, some outlets, including PW Insider, have stated that Jade's absence isn't due to any physical injury, but rather part of the creative plan. This contradicts earlier reports by other sources, including Dave Meltzer, Fightful, and WrestleVotes, all of which have been adamant that Jade's absence is indeed injury-related. So, there's clearly a lot of conflicting information out there. For a bit of context, there's an internal WWE injury list that's not made public. Only top executives and creative staff have access to it, and it's used to keep track of talent availability for various reasons, including vacations, contract statuses, or injuries. Jade Cargill has been listed on this internal list, but it's important to note that the company has kept her status relatively vague. Even though PW Insider has asserted that Jade isn't injured and that the mystery attacker angle is purely fictional, many fans are still questioning the validity of this claim, especially considering the reports from other outlets that indicate the opposite. Fast forward to December, when PW Insider reported that Jade was spotted at the WWE Performance Center. She had been there for 3 consecutive weeks at that point, continuing her training and staying active. However, despite this, there's still no official word on when she'll return to television. As of now, there's no clear timeline for her comeback, and that uncertainty is what's fueling the ongoing speculation. One of the most intriguing elements of this whole situation is the ongoing mystery surrounding the attacker angle. WWE has planted the seeds for a larger storyline involving Jade and her attacker, but they haven't yet revealed who is behind the assault. A lot of fans are speculating that Naomi could be the attacker, and given the way WWE has handled her storyline since Jade's departure, that theory seems plausible. Naomi has been filling the void left by Jade in the women's tag team division, partnering up with Bianca Belair to become the new women's tag team champions. While the mystery attacker angle remains unresolved, fans are eagerly awaiting a confrontation between Jade and her attacker once that storyline is brought to its conclusion. If we consider the original timeline of events, it's worth noting how random and out of the blue Jade's injury angle felt at the time. There were no prior indications that she had sustained any kind of injury, and the announcement came as a surprise to many. In fact, it seemed like a very sudden and unexpected move by WWE, leaving fans with more questions than answers. Still, despite the ambiguity surrounding her injury, WWE has clearly moved forward with other plans in the women's division during Jade's time off. One of the biggest changes during Jade's absence has been the shift in the women's tag team division. As mentioned earlier, Naomi has stepped in as the partner for Bianca Belair, and the two women have become the new tag team champions. With Jade sidelined, this new team has filled the gap in the division, but the mystery attacker storyline still looms over everything. Fans are left wondering who will eventually be revealed as Jade's assailant, and how this will impact her return to television. As WWE continues to move forward with the women's division, some major storylines are taking shape. For example, there are big returns on the horizon, with Charlotte Flair making her return to the company and Becky Lynch expected to return to Monday Night Raw at some point. These shifts in talent placement and storylines are further complicating matters for Jade's eventual return, especially when it comes to determining which brand she'll end up on. Given the state of the division and the ongoing plans for other superstars, it's clear that WWE has a lot of moving pieces to juggle when it comes to Jade's future. When thinking about Jade's eventual return, there are several factors to consider. For one, there's the matter of the mystery attacker storyline. It seems unlikely that WWE would introduce Jade back into the fold through a surprise appearance at the Women's Royal Rumble match, especially considering how central her storyline is to the larger narrative. Bringing her back at the Rumble would distract from the ongoing storyline, and it would be more fitting for her to return once the mystery attacker angle has been resolved. In other words, it would make more sense for Jade to come back, confront her attacker, and address the situation directly, rather than simply showing up at the Rumble and interrupting the ongoing plotline. That said, it's always possible that WWE could pull a surprise and have Jade make a shocking return at the Royal Rumble. After all, the company is known for using the Rumble as a way to debut or return unexpected talent. Fans would undoubtedly be excited to see Jade's return, but from a storytelling perspective, it doesn't quite fit. It would be better to have Jade's return be tied to her feud with the mystery attacker, rather than throwing her into a battle royal without any context or build-up. Looking at WWE's current landscape, there's also the question of when Jade will be ready to return to television. While there's no official timeline, we can make some educated guesses based on the information we do have. Given that the injury angle was originally set up with a 3-month absence in mind, it's possible that Jade could return sometime before the end of March. This would give her enough time to come back and address the mystery attacker storyline while still leaving room for her to participate in major events like WrestleMania. However, even if Jade does return before March, it's unclear when WWE would want to bring her back into the fold. They could opt to do the blow-off match on television, possibly on SmackDown, or they could save the confrontation for a bigger event. Historically, WWE tends to reserve major matches for pay-per-views, especially when they involve big-time talent. Given that there's no obvious pay-per-view event in March, it's more likely that WWE will focus on building up Jade's return and resolving the mystery attacker angle through television programming before transitioning into larger storylines. As for Jade's future in WWE, once the mystery attacker storyline is wrapped up, it's likely that the company will start focusing on her future in the women's division. It seems reasonable to assume that a major feud could be on the horizon, and Bianca Belair might be a logical opponent for Jade once she's done with her attacker storyline. Whether that leads to a match at WrestleMania remains to be seen, but there's certainly potential for a high-profile rivalry between the two women. Yuka Sakazaki defeated Deonna Purrazzo, Serena Deeb, and Queen Hamanata in a 4-way match at AEW Collision to find the next contender for Mercedes Mone's TBS championship. After the bell, Purrazzo left the ring to watch the other fighters battle. She then entered the ring for a quick roll-up attempt on Hamanata and left as soon as she kicked out, with Taya Valkyrie giving her partner some distance from the pursuing Hamanata. Purrazzo had her own strategy going into the fight. Purrazzo progressively became more involved in the group fight, which ultimately worked against her when she and Valkyrie attacked Sakazaki in the final moments. Purrazzo attempted to finish Sakazaki with a powerbomb into a Fujiwara armbar, but Harley Cameron came down to the ring to make the save and was rewarded with a pump kick. Sakazaki, on the other hand, clawed her way out of the hold to roll the Virtuosa up, won by pinfall and securing her a bout for the TBS title the following week. Sakazaki had not competed in AEW since her failed try at the Women's World Championship under Mariah May in September of last year. Her victory will make her the 13th defense of Mone's title run, which is currently 245 days old, and she may have the assistance of someone else who has their sights set on the CEO. Cameron was shown offering Mone a musical challenge for the next Grand Slam, Australia, before making the save during Collision, but she was turned down since she hadn't won a match on television.